What's going on, everyone? What I'm going to do in this video today is something I'm going to be kind of bold about it. I'm going to destroy one of the biggest myths in all of photography. Just for fun, let's look at a couple other myths. So the first one, the biggest one for me, is the Loch Ness Monster. This is the real tough one to decide what's real or not. Here's the photographic evidence, and it's pretty compelling. Okay, so you decide. What do you think? Loch Ness Monster real? Is there a monster in the water, or is there no monster? Then we got Bigfoot. Bigfoot is huge here in America. I don't know from where you're from if you guys have Bigfoots running around, but we have what's called Bigfoot. And here's the evidence right here, video evidence of a Bigfoot walking around in the forest. You decide whether there are giant ape-like creatures walking amongst us in secret, these intelligent, all-powerful creatures who never get on camera, except for that one little bit of video. So that brings us to our biggest myth, and that is that OM Systems 20 megapixel sensors are not enough. And enough for what? What are you guys doing with your photos? What's happening here, people? Because I'm printing these things like 40, 50, 60, 70 inches wide, tall, whatever, and they look fantastic. This video is sponsored by OM System, and what we're going to do is we're going to smash that myth that you can't print really large with Micro Four Thirds. I'm going to take you through my 5 concepts that kind of guide me through the initial steps of taking the photograph all the way to pressing print to make sure I get the best files possible. And then we're going to actually print 3 really large, 5 feet wide images that I took this last fall that I love, that I wanted to see in print, that are going to prove that you could print really big, have incredible detail, and just be proud of the work that you put out in the world. Before we do that, I want to take you back to earlier this year, to the moment where I realized that I could use OM Systems 20 megapixel sensors for everything I do, pretty much everything I do in all aspects of my photography. It's this project right here with my friend Kurt Johnson. Now, he was a lead photographer. I just contributed some images to this, and about 80 images were sold to this clinic. And amongst those, I had 7 or 8 that were GFX, and the rest were a really even mix of Micro Four Thirds, APS-C, and full frame. So we had the entire gamut there. When the project lead told me that we had to get the images to be able to go up to 60 images at the max, right? I kind of panicked because in my mind, I thought about all those keyboard warriors, those people who get on the internet and fill the forums with all kinds of stuff that just does not matter. You know, they're always talking about equivalency and resolution charts and sensor size, flux capacitors, warp drives, all the stuff that just doesn't really matter at the end of the day in most 99% of the photographers on the planet. My best advice is just ignore those people, okay? Or send them this video, because I really do think that we're going to change some minds here. This photo in Nebraska Sandhills really surprised me. Number one, it was a crop. So this is a vertical crop of a horizontal photo. For whatever reason, I didn't shoot a vertical version in the field. So I had to crop this in already, and I had to get this up to be able to be printed at 60 inches. We didn't know which sized images were going to be at the right spot at that time. And so it gets printed and it looks stunning. Okay. The details all the way up close on those feathers are incredible. There's no noise to talk about. It's just a really, really vibrant, incredible image. And this shot just kind of blows me away. So a designer obviously featured it for this area. It's printed really large, and it retains incredible detail walking all the way up close to the image. We're going to talk a little bit about viewing distance later, but this one looks fantastic even up close, and so did the bird one I just showed you. What's wild is that when I saw it in person, I could have sworn it was taken with my Nikon Z8 or Z9. It had so much detail. It looked so good, so vibrant, especially being printed that big. So I went home and looked, and no, it was with the OM one as well. And it was shot at ISO 800, which is supposed to be kind of a no-no for Micro Four Thirds. We don't want to raise our ISO, and was also cropped a little bit as well. And it looks absolutely stunning. So when I went home and I found that out, that blew my mind away. And I immediately started looking at how I can move everything to OM System, because those results were so amazing. And I kind of saw the advantages of taking the Micro Four Thirds stuff out versus all the other bigger stuff. And that was a game changer for me. So the question is, how is this possible? How am I able to do this with so many people out there say that you can't do it? And I think that the only difference is that I'm doing it and they're not. They're on their keyboards. They're typing onto the internet, on the message boards to try to, I don't even know. They just don't know what they're talking about. They're using math, they're using charts, and they're using all this stuff so they sound like they know what they're talking about. They're very judgmental, aren't they, sometimes? I'm sure I probably get some down below. It'll be kind of fun to see the comments. But I think you just need to ignore them, like I've learned to. I've finally let go of all that stuff, and I'm just focusing on positivity. I'm focusing on technique, enjoyment, fun, meaning, and getting the best at my photography instead of all that other stuff And it has made the world a difference in pretty much everything. As you can tell, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. This whole switch has kind of transformed how I approach a lot of things. And so I've come up with 5 guiding concepts from start to finish on how I personally get the stuff that's in my head into my camera and then on the wall somewhere that I can be proud of. The first concept is to use good technique and really good lenses. For me, good technique really just goes back to the basics. I'm using manual mode. I'm choosing carefully my settings to get the result I want. And I'm also maximizing the amount of light. So I'm just trying to avoid getting too much shadows. It's very important to get the shot right in camera so that you can maximize what you can do in the editing station later. So I make sure that my exposure is correct in camera every time. When I do that, when I make sure I'm getting the most amount of light that I can get, the best exposure possible with these really sharp, incredible lenses from OM System, that's where cool things start to happen. So I know, for instance, like the 12-100 f4, it's a stunner. So all the way from 12 millimeters to 100 or 24 to 200 in full frame terms, even wide open, it's going to be incredibly sharp. Also, the 50-200 is one of the sharpest lenses I've ever used. And you can leave it at 2.8 and just shoot through the entire focal range. And you know that every shot that you get, as long as you're using good technique, is going to get you the ability to manipulate the files well later and then also get really large prints. The second concept that guides me is that there are options that OM System gives us and techniques we can use in the field to get more resolution if we need it. The first is the handheld high resolution mode. That gives us 50 megapixels. If you want to put it on a tripod and then activate the tripod high resolution mode, you can get up to 80 megapixels. Both options give us more dynamic range and less noise, more resolution. The files are really, really good. The only challenge with those is that if you have a lot of movement in your photographs, if you have a lot of moving people or like flowers in the wind, they just do not work well on moving stuff because they're taking a series of photos and combining them into something larger with some kind of magic that's done in the camera. I have no idea how it's done. It's really wild. In the right situations, though, they can be really helpful. So for instance, this is a shot that basically paid for my OM1 and my 90 macro. I took that to the studio and I used the tripod high resolution mode to shoot a picture of this agate here. And wow, I was able to print this at 21 feet. It's in like Pennsylvania somewhere in a radiology lab. I haven't got like a professional install shot yet. I got to get down there and do that. But the designer said that everybody loves it and it looks beautiful. So yeah, they could be helpful in the right situation. I also know that I could use stitching in the field, so I could take multiple shots of the scene to be able to combine them and get more resolution as well. That works really well in a lot of scenes, and sometimes it's just cool to do to get these wide panoramics anyway. Those are really nice options for us to have and use, but I have to also be a little bit honest and say I don't use them very often. I use them sometimes when special situations arise, but the project that I showed you earlier, those were all 20 megapixel shots. Some of them even cropped. So I mostly just work with single 20 megapixel files for most of what I do, unless there's something really, really different happening. The third guiding concept for me is really the editing station and knowing that I'm shooting for the edit and editing is going to be a big part of this. As an example, let's go ahead and edit one of the photos that we printed for today's examples. And I'll show you the entire process. Just to let you know, I don't do this for almost any of the photos. Anything that I print under like 30 or 40 inches, I don't go into gigapixel or do anything crazy like that. I just do all my stuff in Lightroom. It's only when I'm doing bigger projects where I go in and I do what you're about to see. So let's go ahead and bring up Lightroom and make this happen. Here is the shot. I just absolutely love this picture. Taken with the 50-200 2.8 IS Pro on the OM1. Love it. It's also a good example of just has great file integrity. Sharpness right out of the box, low grain. Nothing's blown out. You know, right here, the histogram's a little bit pushed to the right. We could even go a little bit more if we wanted to. And I'll go ahead and do my quick edits first. I just recover the highlights a little bit. I'll boost the shadows on everything, make everything a little bit brighter. I'll bring the exposure down a touch. And that looks really good. Nice and bright. I think I could probably do a little bit more. I'm going to mask the butterfly subject. Should get it. Yeah, good enough. I'm going to bring them out just a touch. A little contrast. Okay. Let's see if that looks. Let's look at it before and after. Before and after. That looks pretty good. I might just do a little bit of contrast to chunk that up a little bit. Yeah. All right. That looks pretty good. So now I always pretty much know that this is going to be awesome. This is a rock star image already. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to go into denoising. So I denoise pretty much all my images when I'm bringing over to gigapixel, no matter what. Even on other sensors, there's grain. There's just a little bit more on Micro Four Thirds. I do like using Micro Four Thirds files though. Anything you do is a lot quicker. The files are not giant, so editing is a lot quicker. It's pretty nice. And what we're going to do as a final step here is we're going to over sharpen this thing a little bit. We're going to go down to, we've already denoised it, and then we're going to go up to sharpness to the point where you're like, maybe that's a little too much, and then we're going to dial it back. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, so we're going to go before and after, brighter, more colorful, sharper, everything about this image. There's zero grain. This thing is ready to go. Okay, so then the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it over into Gigapixel. Now I'm in Gigapixel, and basically my settings just applied from the last time I did this. So I'm at the 4x upscale, which brings me up to a 20,000 by 15,000 resolution at 300 PPI. And then we've got the sharpen settings there. I didn't change these. These are just default. And I just don't think I have a reason to change them here. This is looking really good. So that's the before and that's the after. People, you have to understand that this is stunning, absolutely stunning that we're able to do this and get these kind of results. We have too many pixel peepers who view these at 100% and see slight, tiny imperfections. Those people, they are not your audience, right? You have to remember that. You do not have people walking up to your prints and using a magnifying glass. If they are doing then you've entered a fine art competition, which is not anything that I'm interested in at all, and I know nothing about. So you'll see lots of guides to printing photography that has to do with a lot of math, and all these entire books are written about it, right? And that's not what I do. I'm printing stuff that will last a lifetime, that will last a long time, printed on the right paper with the right people, right? The right printer. But we're not making stuff that's going to be judged by other photographers. We're making things that will delight designers and an audience who's walking through those hallways. That's my entire goal. That's my entire mission, right? And so I'm able to do that with these files and get incredible results by just a few extra steps if I need to go larger than 40 inches, say. So now what we're going to do is we're going to export the file to take it into Photoshop to make sure that we're on the right track. So developing a relationship with a master printer is what you should try to do. You can't print stuff this big at home very easily anyway. So make sure that you find someone that you want to work with that has a lot of knowledge, because it's not true that you need all this resolution for all the different types of paper. So for instance, there's different tolerances for different substrates. For instance, you need different DPIs, dots per inch. I'm not going to go, we could make a whole video about that. What I'm saying though, is that you should develop a relationship with a printer that can help you with that, and that can explain how different types of surfaces react differently. So Canvas, you can get away with really, really small files and print them really big, while super high-end fine art prints, you're not going to be able to get away with as big. For what we're doing, we're still printing high resolution on really good paper on, this is really high quality stuff. And the resolution is going to be awesome. We're going to make it look good. But I know that I only need to reach a maximum target of 250 dots per inch at the size that I'm looking at. So we're looking at 60 by 45. And what we're going to do right now is go into Photoshop and just make sure that we're reaching that. So I'm going to go over to the image size, and we're going to uncheck that resample thing. We're going to keep that. We're going to change that to 250. And we're going to say, yeah. So, so at 250, we could reach 82 inches. Okay. And let's just press OK on that. And then let's go ahead and look at the image, zoom in quite a bit. And I'm already at 67%. Here's 100. And keyboard warriors zooming into 100% can pick some stuff out, all right, just as I could. And the idea, though, is that the image is the sum of its parts, okay? And that this overall image just looks stunning. It's a wonderful image. The light is beautiful. The details are all there. The sharpness is there. And it is going to print unbelievably well. After we looked at the editing, I sent out my images to be printed for this video. We're going to check those out in a little bit. But first, let's talk about concept number 4. And that's the idea that there's a regular, real human looking at your image, and that you don't have to worry about somebody stepping up and staring at your image from an inch away like some of these people do on the computer when they're zooming all the way in. Instead, regular people engage with your photography at your photo's terms. So they look at the whole image. and they're either like bored and they just keep walking, or they're moved by it in some way. And that's what you're hoping for. When it gets bigger, the impact can be a little bit greater, right? And they'll step back. So it's the idea that they're not trying to get really close and just judge everything about your corner sharpness or something like that. It's the concept that we don't have to worry about a lot of the stuff that we get fed online. Real humans who are engaging with your photos don't care about all this stuff. It's a freeing concept. And it relates to number 5. And it's the ultimate. Number 5 is the ultimate concept. And that's just that the image is the only thing that matters. The final image. For me, that means print it on a wall and put in front of people, right? That's the ultimate goal. Maybe it's a book that I still haven't done. Maybe it's whatever you imagine, an art show, right? That is the ultimate of photography. And the image is the image. And whatever you use to get there, whatever inspires you. For me, that's OM System. They're smaller, lighter, incredibly powerful cameras that just could do so many cool things. That's inspiring me to get out and shoot. And so that's what's important. And so all those 5 concepts come together to produce these 3 images. Let's go down and let's go check them out and see what you think. Okay, so as you can see, this is so big that it's hard to even put on a table. So we're just gonna go with what we got and check them out. So I just haven't seen them yet, and this is the first time we're gonna check them out and go from there. So this one I can see is the landscape. This is one of the sunflowers, and this thing is amazing. Holy cow, people. The way the tree pops out, the way the tree in the middle pops out. Look at all these colors. Here's the butterfly. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And I'm not exaggerating. I wish you guys could see it. If you're in Omaha, Nebraska someday, give me an email, because this thing looks wildly good. And now we have the leaves. And once again, it's just insanely vibrant. Just really, really something else. Check this out. I mean, these prints don't get better, really. These are really nuts how good these are. Anyone looking at this next to GFX, next to anything else, I'm gonna tell you, at this size even, it's gonna be hard for anybody to know. They'll have to step in really close to see the difference. And people just don't do that. And if they do, they just step back again. It's wild. So incredible, all the details are there. The color is wonderful. The reproduction of exactly what I wanted out of the editing is perfect. So really good stuff. Let's go back and talk about some final thoughts. Okay, people, I'm going to call it. I'm going to say that myth has been busted. All right. We could throw the OM System myth of not being able to print big and not having enough whatever alongside Bigfoot and Loch Ness, throw them to the side and just keep moving on. All right. OM System cameras and lenses are incredible and will get you large, vibrant, big prints. That's just it. That's what I'm doing. Okay. It's really fun to be able to take these things out and get cool shots in a small light package. I know I repeat myself, but our marketing geniuses out there have kind of warped our minds, I think, a little bit. But that's capitalism. Anyways, I hope you like this vibe. Check me out on my newsletter. The link is below. It's called Megapixel Road. We have a lot of fun there. Subscribe if you haven't. Do all that stuff. I have some prints on my website. Go and check them out. Thank you so much for being here. We'll talk to you next time.